Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Inside the Blue podcast. So, opening weekend is officially over for the Dodgers. Today is Sunday, March 29th. It's a rare off day for them on a Sunday, but they had a very, very good opening weekend. The Dodgers swept the Diamondbacks 3-0. So we're going to get into those games in this episode, our first series recap episode of the new season. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with opening day, obviously. So on opening day, the Dodgers won by final score of 8-2. And our starting pitcher was none other than Yoshinobu Yamamoto, because, of course, you cannot not go with Yamamoto on opening day. So Yamamoto goes 6 innings pitched with 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and tosses 6 strikeouts. So Yamamoto had a pretty solid start to his season. He currently has an ERA of 3, so I expect that to drop as the season progresses. We will see how he feels this season, considering he pitched a lot of innings in that World Series, and I expect his ERA to drop throughout the season. Looking at the Dodger offense, this game, they scored 8 runs, obviously, on 10 hits, walked 5 times, and struck out 4 times. The Dodgers had a pretty strong offensive performance this game, so let's get right into it. So in the 4th inning, the Diamondbacks get an early 2-0 lead off of Geraldo Perdomo's 2-run homer. And that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this opening series, which we will get into a bit later. So the Diamondbacks are off to an early 2-0 lead, but in the bottom of the 5th, Andy Pages hits a 3-run home run, which I love to see that because Andy Pages offensively last season just really wasn't it at all, especially in the postseason. So to see him off to a strong start is really, really good to see. So Andy Pages hit the 3-run home run, and Will Smith also hits an RBI single to make it 4-2 Dodgers. So the Dodgers come from behind in the 5th inning to take a 4-2 lead, and then they go quiet for a bit. And in the bottom of the 7th, the new guy, Kyle Tucker, doubles and drives in Shohei Ohtani for his first RBI as a Dodger to make it 5-2. So really good to see the new guy, Kyle Tucker, make an impact early in the season. You know, that's exactly what you want from a guy you threw a bunch of money at. And so he is making a positive impact already. Mookie Betts also gets an RBI single, and Will Smith hits a 2-run homer to make it 8-2 Dodgers. So the Dodgers exploded later on in the game offensively, which is something that you love to see. The Dodgers are never truly out of a game. Let's be real. They always play to the last out and somehow always find a way to win. I mean, I believe last season they led the league or were in the top 3, I think, in come from behind wins. So you can never really count the Dodgers out when they're down. So next, let's talk about the Dodger bullpen performance this game. So we saw 3 relievers come out this game: Blake Treinen, Will Klein, and Tanner Scott. So Blake Treinen comes out. He goes 1 inning, giving up a hit with no runs, no walks, and strikes out 1. So pretty solid start for Blake Treinen. You love to see that. He had not a great season last year, so a pretty strong start to his season. Will Klein then comes in, World Series legend Will Klein, comes in for an inning, giving up no runs, no hits or walks, and strikes out 1 as well. And then Tanner Scott comes in for the 9th. So we know the story about Tanner Scott. He was supposed to be the lockdown closer last year, and he just was not that guy. And so they obviously went out to go find a lockdown closer and found him in Edwin Diaz, which we will get into as well because we saw Edwin Diaz in this series. So Tanner Scott comes in for the 9th. He goes 1 inning and puts up zeros across the board. That is no runs, no hits, no walks, no strikeouts. So Tanner Scott had a clean inning, and I was very, very surprised to see that. So hopefully him not being in high pressure situations and a non-closer role will help him have a much better season. So we will monitor Tanner Scott throughout the season. So that was opening day, and this game was broadcast on NBC and Peacock TV. So we had our very first game on NBC, and we were able to see throughout the game and hear a very familiar face and a very familiar voice on the broadcast, and that was Clayton Kershaw. So it was really weird to see Kershaw at Dodger Stadium again on opening day, not in uniform, but in a suit. He was obviously part of the broadcast, part of the analyst crew, and it was really awesome to see and hear Kershaw's insight throughout the game on what was going on. He talked a lot about pitching and all that stuff. It was really, really fun to see, and I expect Kershaw to be on a lot of the NBC broadcasts going forward. So it was just really interesting and fun to see that side of Kershaw on opening day. So yeah, that was opening day. So now we move to game 2 of the series, where the Dodgers won by a final score of 5-4. Emmett Sheehan was the starting pitcher in this game. He goes 3 1/3 innings pitched, giving up 4 runs on 5 hits with 2 walks and striking out 6. So not a strong start from Emmett Sheehan this season. He left the game with a 10.80 ERA. I'm hoping that throughout the season, he gets a lot better. He's still a young pitcher, so he still has stuff to figure out. But overall, not a terrible start, just not a good start. The Dodger offense this game scored 5 runs on 4 hits with 3 walks, and they struck out 5 times. So not a strong offensive performance this game for the Dodgers compared to opening day. They had a team batting average of 143, so big drop off from opening day. So let's get into this game. So in the top of the second, Alek Thomas gives the Diamondbacks an early 1-0 lead with an RBI double, but Kyle Tucker throws out Pavin Smith at home. So they tried to score 2 off of that double, but Kyle Tucker started the relay home, and Pavin Smith is thrown out to only hold the Diamondbacks to 1 run. So it was a 1-0 lead at the end of the second. And in the third inning, Ketel Marte homers, and that makes it 2-0. So the Diamondbacks, again, jumping to an early 2-0 lead, like they did on opening day. And so the Diamondbacks are ahead, and in the bottom of the third, Alex Freeland hits a homer to make it 2-1 Dodgers. So Alex Freeland is an interesting player. So in spring training, he batted just 116. So he had a pretty abysmal spring training offensively. However, he was still able to make the opening day roster. And that confused a lot of people. But honestly, spring training stats don't really matter. You can be one guy in spring training and be a completely different guy in the regular season, which we just saw with this home run from Alex Freeland. So I am confident that Alex Freeland will make a positive impact on this Dodger roster throughout the season. So yeah, then Kyle Tucker and Ohtani both take a walk to bring up Mookie Betts, who proceeds to hit a 3-run home run to make it 4-2. And Mookie Betts was absolutely hyped up after he hit this home run. And, you know, it's so funny because I was watching this game on my phone. I was actually on Saturday at the Savannah Bananas game at Angel Stadium because they were in town and my girlfriend really wanted to go. So I saw the Mookie Betts home run, and there was a lot of Dodger fans at the Savannah Bananas game. And I know a lot of them were probably keeping up with the game on their phones as well. But anyway, so yeah, Mookie Betts was super hyped up after that home run, which gave the Dodgers a 4-2 lead. So now the Dodgers are ahead 4-2, like we saw in opening day. So the top of the fourth comes around. Alek Thomas again, who just seemed to just do a lot of damage against the Dodgers this opening series, doubles in Pavin Smith and Carlos Santana to tie the game at 4. Yeah, I don't know. Alek Thomas against the Dodgers this series did very, very well offensively. He was doing the most damage, it seemed. So the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks go quiet for the next few innings, and then the bottom of the 8th rolls around where Alex Freeland proceeds to hit a leadoff double. So remember, like I said earlier, spring training numbers don't mean anything, and Alex Freeland this game already has a home run, and he now has a double. So I think that Alex Freeland will be just fine this season. He's already contributing very early in the season. So yeah, he hits a leadoff double and gets moved over to third by a Ohtani ground out. So now Alex Freeland is at third base, and Kyle Tucker, the new guy again, brings home Kyle Freeland on a single to right field for his second RBI as a Dodger. So Alex Freeland scores, and the Dodgers are up 5-4. They take the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. And so that means only one thing going into the 9th inning. We will see Edwin Diaz for the 9th to try to get the save. And so Kyle Tucker has already contributed in the first 2 games already in big ways. He's contributed in opening day, and he just gave the Dodgers the go-ahead run, making it 5-4. So Edwin Diaz comes in the game in the 9th inning, and he had a very good Dodger debut. He only walked 1 batter and struck out 2 to earn his first save as a Dodger. So both new guys have contributed in big ways already. Kyle Tucker with the go-ahead run this game, and Edwin Diaz getting his first save. Now, I just want to say that if this was Tanner Scott in the closer role, I can pretty much guarantee that the lead would have been blown or would have been a tie game or something. So it's really, really nice to see that the Dodgers have a true lockdown closer again. They haven't had a true lockdown closer since Kenley Jansen. And so it's really, really nice to see that the Dodgers can bring out a true 100% lockdown closer to come in that you trust to get the save. So yeah, that was his Dodger debut. Let's go over the Dodger bullpen performance this game. So the Dodger bullpen performance, Jack Dreyer comes in to relieve Emmett Sheehan. He goes an inning and 2/3. He does give up runs when he relieves Emmett Sheehan. However, those runs were charged to Sheehan as they were his responsibility in the first place. So Jack Dreyer gives up 0 runs, no hits, and no walks, and strikes out 1. So none of those runs that scored when Dreyer was on the mound were charged to him. Again, they were charged to Emmett Sheehan. Ben Kasparius comes in for 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit and a walk, and strikes out 1. Tanner Scott comes in to this game again, going 1/3 of an inning, giving up no hits, no runs or walks, and strikes out 1. So again, a pretty good performance from Tanner Scott. Another clean, not full inning, but a clean 1/3 of an inning. But it's still good to see him not, giving up hits or walks or whatever, and he's notched a strikeout. So that's good. Alex Vesia comes in for an inning, giving up a hit, no runs or walks. He's doing very, very well to start his season as well. And then Edgardo Henriquez comes in for an inning and puts up zeros across the board with a strikeout. And he also earns the win this game. So the Dodgers had a very, very good game 2, an exciting game 2, where Kyle Tucker was the main contributor here, giving them the go-ahead run. So that was game 2. Now we move on to the final game of the series, game 3, where the Dodgers win by a final score of 3-2. Tyler Glasnow is the starting pitcher in this game, going 6 innings, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits, walking 1 and striking out 6. So again, very solid start for Tyler Glasnow. Yamamoto and him both had very nice starts to the season. The Dodger offense this game, 3 runs on 6 hits with 3 walks, striking out 6 times. They batted .207 as a team, so a little bit better than game 2. Not as dominant as they were on opening day, but still solid. They need to start hitting a bit more. So let's get into this game. So the top of the first, Pavin Smith hits an RBI single that scores Corbin Carroll. That allows the Diamondbacks to take an early 1-0 lead. So like I said to start this episode, a recurring theme was the Diamondbacks were scoring early and jumping out to early leads. So the Dodgers wins this entire series were all come from behind wins. And that is pretty astonishing that they, always found a way to come back and win. So that was the Diamondbacks in the first. They come back in the top of the third where Corbin Carroll gets a sacrifice fly that scores Jorge Barosa to make it 2-0 Diamondbacks. So again, an early 2-0 lead for the Diamondbacks in this series. The bottom of the sixth comes around. Freddie Freeman doubles, which scores Kyle Tucker. So that makes it 2-1 Dodgers. They go quiet for the next few innings where they get to the bottom of the eighth where Will Smith, on his birthday and bobblehead night, hits the go-ahead 2-run homer that brings the Dodgers to a 3-2 lead. So Will Smith, this opening series and to start the season, has just been phenomenal. He is one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball. I think in terms of offense, he's for sure up there in the top 3. So yeah, on his bobblehead night and on his birthday, he hits the go-ahead home run. And of course, because for some reason, anytime a player has a bobblehead night, for the most part, they tend to contribute in huge ways. So the Dodgers lead at 3-2. That means that Edwin Diaz is coming in again for the top of the ninth. So back-to-back save opportunities for Edwin Diaz, where he puts up zeros across the board and gets his second save as a Dodger. He is now 2 for 2 in save opportunities. So that's fantastic. Again, a true lockdown closer. So let's also go over the Dodger bullpen this game. Alex Vesia comes in to pitch for 1 inning and puts up zeros across the board. So again, a really good start to Alex Vesia's season. World Series legend Will Klein comes in for an inning, giving up a hit and striking out 1, and also gets the win this game. So the Dodgers come from behind in all 3 games to sweep the Diamondbacks and take a 3-0 lead in the NL West standings and are in first place. So, opening weekend final thoughts. Will Smith had a fantastic start to his season, had a fantastic opening weekend series, and the Dodgers have a true lockdown closer in Edwin Diaz, which is fantastic to see. Starting pitching was good, but it can use a bit of improvement. Tyler Glasnow was good, Yamamoto was good, Emmett Sheehan needs to step up and really improve a bit. The bullpen has had a very strong start, which is great to see because we know that last season the bullpen was just absolutely abysmal. They were overworked, they were fatigued, they were used a lot. So to see the bullpen starting off strong this season is very, very good to see. And the new guys contributed in big ways. Kyle Tucker had big hits this series, especially that go-ahead run in Game 2. And Edwin Diaz is 2 for 2 in save opportunities. So the new guys are contributing, and that's fantastic to see. So that was opening weekend. Looking ahead for the next week, the Dodgers face the Guardians Monday through Wednesday at home. And then they will go on their first road trip next weekend, April 3rd to the 5th, to face the Washington Nationals. So the Dodgers currently sit in first place in the NL West at 3-0. The San Diego Padres are in second place with 1 win and 2 losses, and the rest of the NL West are winless. Colorado is 0-2. The Diamondbacks are 0-3, obviously, and the Giants are in last place at 0-3 as well. So the Dodgers are dominating the NL West as we all expected they would so far. The only other team in Major League Baseball that is 3-0 are the New York Yankees because they swept the San Francisco Giants. So thank you to the New York Yankees for taking care of the Giants for us, putting them in last place and making them 0-3. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this series recap. We will recap the Guardians series when it concludes, and then we will recap the National Series when that concludes, and that will be the format going forward throughout the season. So, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I will see you guys after the Guardians series.